Okay, so I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Your Birth Network podcast. I'm super excited to have you and just to share some information that people are not aware of here in the States. And so it'll be awesome just to share something that people can use in order to heal in the postpartum period and things they can even use in pregnancy. So tell everybody who you are and a little bit about like your background and what you do.
Hello, everybody. I'm super honored to be here on the podcast. My name is Tatiana, and I'm the owner of AverBalance. So that's my brand, and part of that brand is the Flower Balance, which is focusing on health and wellness, but primarily women's health and wellness, in particular, pelvic health. So anything, things pelvic floor health, pelvic health, whether it be postpartum recovery or recovery after hysterectomy or incontinence, diastasis recti after obviously a pregnancy, or prolapse, pelvic organ prolapse. So I help women to overcome those situations and get well and healthy and strengthen their pelvic floors.
And why is the pelvic floor so important, like to you, in making sure that women have balance and also have strength in their pelvic floor?
Well, this is such a great question. So pelvic floor is the floor of the core, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about core, just to give you a little bit of a background, EverBalance is a brand that teaches Pilates, yoga, and barre. So basically it's physical exercise. And I've owned a studio in Florida, owned a few studios, not just one studio here in Florida. And we teach yoga, barre, Pilates. It's virtual. But for me, why I got into working with women who have pelvic floor issues is I had my own fair share of pelvic floor issues that were causing lower back pain and complete weakness, and I just couldn't figure out what was going on with me for a while, right? But then I did finally arrive to my answer, and so the pelvic floor is the floor of the core, and everybody knows that Pilates really focuses on core strength, and when we talk about core, we're talking about the deep internal muscles that surround the spine, right? So the deepest ab muscle, the deepest spine muscles, the diaphragm, the breathing muscle, and the pelvic floor. So when we talk about core strength, we definitely obviously talking about the strength in the pelvic floor muscles. So it is super important, like you said, to keep those balanced, right? Yes. Not too tight, not too loose, strong enough, just these great, strong, fabulous, flexible muscles.
And what are like some of the benefits that you've seen with people that you have worked with in your studios once they do enroll in like your classes and your courses and they begin to work on pelvic floor strength and balance?
Okay, so if we're talking about preventative care, right? So we'll start there. Let's start with women who don't have any issues. So what would be the benefit of them really working on strengthening their pelvic floor?
Yeah.
So when we give birth to our lovely children, which I, by the way, don't have any kids just yet. I plan to eventually. But that is considered, in my opinion, it's kind of like an injury, right? It's not really quote unquote injury, but sometimes there's a tear, there's nerve tear, or, whatever it is, like the hips widen and we have the baby coming through. And most women, go through the birth experience, and not once or twice or three times, some women more than that. Yep. So, after that, the preventative care is very important because we want to prevent incontinence. We want to prevent pelvic organ prolapse, which happens actually 40% of women will have some type of pelvic organ prolapse during the duration of their life, right? Wow. So that is a big number. That's epidemiology of that issue. And so doing the pelvic floor exercises, strengthening the pelvic floor, is going to help to prevent that from happening. Now, when we talk about people who already, for example, have issues, myself included, that is something that we need to obviously fix. So we have to retrain. So we first have to figure out, okay, so where are we in our pelvic floor condition? There is a high pelvic floor where the muscles are too tight and they are just, and the tight muscle is not a strong muscle, right? So we really, 10% of women who have issues with their pelvic floor will be hypertonic. And then we also have the other spectrum is when the muscles are too weak, right? When they're not doing enough, things are not tight enough. So that's when the prolapse happens, incontinence, and other issues, right? And so in the middle, we have a healthy, happy pelvic floor. So we have to figure out, once we do have an issue, we have to figure out, do we down train you because you have a hypertonic pelvic floor, or do we up train you because your pelvic floor is not strong enough? So we have to do a lot of work, which 90% of women with issues will have that, right?
Okay.
So my job is to figure that out, asking them questions about their symptoms. And then the benefit would be to help the issues that they're dealing with.
So tell everybody about like your cultural background and things that you know as far as like how to deal with pelvic floor health that it may not be widely known or practiced here in the US, and like some of the differences that you've noticed.
Okay, thank you for that. So I am from Ukraine originally. I was born and raised in Eastern Europe, and I moved to the States at the age of 20, and I opened up my first studio in Florida at the age of 26.
Wow.
So it was really super exciting. You know, I'm such an entrepreneur, and I've just put my whole heart and my soul into my business. But then I kind of ended up working myself into the ground, if you will, which every entrepreneur goes through that.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, the whole thing. But with my background, as far as doing all of this work, I went through some of my own issues, and I was able to kind of snap out of it, fix it. And so just started thinking, boy, if I had a baby while I was having that stress incontinence, I'd probably be in big doo-doo after giving birth, because the muscles weren't strong enough and things weren't firing and wiring properly.
Okay.
I would probably be reporting stress incontinence or urinary incontinence right after the birth. So I started becoming very passionate about that topic, like educating women and talking to women and starting to do this work. So as far as, you know, this new technique that I found, it was originated in Europe, and I was super fortunate enough to be able to come across this new technique that helped me to heal and revive and strengthen my own pelvic floor. And that technique is called hypopressive fitness. So hypo means low, right? So not as much. Pressive, pressure. So it's low pressure fitness. And this technique was originated back in the 70s or 60s, I believe, in Spain and France. And so let me tell you, women in France are so good at postpartum physical therapy recovery. I mean, it's really big over there. Everyone is almost like prescribed that after they give birth.
Oh, wow.
I wonder why women aren't prescribed pelvic floor recovery after giving birth. It's kind of like having a shoulder surgery. We know for sure we're going to go and do physical therapy. So how come after like this, we don't do that? So in Europe, everyone is on. They are doing all kinds of great things, including hypopressives. And at first, you know, I was able to get certified with Dr. Tamara Rial, who is the originator of low pressure fitness. So I just went straight to the source, and, you know, that was so amazing learning from the root of the tree, you know, it was profound. So I would love to kind of bring this to everybody's awareness, especially probably your listeners, moms who have had, you know, their birth experience. If you can put your hands on some hypopressives, boy, you will be so
Okay, so low pressure is what hypopressive means. So just so everyone knows, it's low pressure. Okay, so this low pressure therapy is something that they're practicing in Europe, and you can start this as soon as like how many weeks into like your postpartum journey? Like, is there a certain time frame or?
Yeah, so 4 to 6 weeks after the
Okay,
natural birth is we can start doing the actual stomach vacuum. Stomach vacuum is what I'm going to demonstrate today. It is
okay.
pulling things upwards, and I'll explain a little bit how it works. Also the technique and the method comes with this myofascial and neurodynamic technique posture. So it's kind of like yoga. It has its own postures, and they're named after Greek and Roman goddesses. So it's really kind of, very feminine, very female empowered, which I really love.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be getting into positions and into postures that teach you to really straighten your spine and lengthen through all of your extremities, engaging some of the serratus muscle. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very specific. So it helps you to kind of stretch your fascia, and it's also neurodynamic because it's using the breath. It's
Mm-hmm.
using, very specific movements that are very functional.
Okay. Okay. Well, awesome. Is there any other things about the techniques that you want to highlight as far as like the low pressure therapy and like fitness that people should know?
Right. So when we talk about low pressure fitness, we're thinking about lifting things upward. Okay. So if
Okay.
somebody is having, that's something I would definitely highlight. If someone is having incontinence or diastasis recti issues, or they're having a prolapse issue after giving birth,
Mm-hmm.
they should definitely be avoiding things that create intra-abdominal pressure, right? The pressure that is kind of downward. And intra-abdominal pressure is the pressure that's created inside our here, our torso cavity here, right? So where our internal organs are and everything. So that would be crunches, right? That would be holding planks. It would
Okay.
be any kind of like a crisscross bicycle. That one has like literally so much pressure down. So I would completely avoid all of that stuff and do
Awesome.
things. Yes, if you're having issues, I would definitely, Pilates, some of the Pilates moves are definitely going to be very hard with lots of intra-abdominal pressure, like the
Mm-hmm.
100 and some of that supine work, supine is on your back.
Mm-hmm.
That creates a lot of pressure, right? So
Yeah.
I would definitely stop all that, stop the planks,
Mm-hmm.
and start the recovery, which could be physical therapy, all kinds of things that you can do that actually relieve pressure here and pull things up. One
Okay.
of the things you can do is low pressure fitness. There aren't that many instructors out there in
Mm-hmm.
America. However, right now everyone is virtual, and so am I. So I am preparing my course is where I'm going to be teaching hyperpressive fitness.
Okay.
And so if anyone's interested, you can reach out to me. Also, lots of my friends who've gone through the training with me teaching virtually, and you can learn virtually as legitimately and as successful you can be virtual with it as in person. Of course, tactile cueing is great because I can like put my hand on your body and then you could feel it. However, I learned it virtually, and I'm doing great. I'm standing in my backyard sometimes and just doing my vacuums, and it feels amazing.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. So can you show us like the vacuum and like whatever other low pressure fitness like moves and stretches that you wanted to share with us?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm actually going to take my top off so you can see my abdomen.
Okay.
So usually when we practice hyperpressive fitness, we kind of want to have our belly hanging out. So I just like to always check and like let my abs go, because that's the biggest thing is we don't want to have our abdomen pulled in, because that would be like a contra, it's kind of like a contra move, right?
Okay.
So, so the thing about hyperpressive is it's breath, And it's all about a lateral breathing. So I'll teach my clients to breathe with their ribs. We'll inhale. Do you see how my ribs really opened up? And then exhale. A lot of people will have a belly breath when they breathe with their bellies this way, or very high over here. They'll just have very short breath, kind of like upwards. So we're gonna have to teach them to really work into this lateral costal breathing. Lateral means to the sides, costal, intercostal muscles that are in the ribs over here. So I'll teach my clients to really feel the rib cage open 360 degrees. Can you see that?
Yep.
And then it'll just naturally go back to where it was. Thing is that we don't want to squeeze the abs here at all. Okay, we want to let those abs go. And
Okay.
inhale, and then exhale. And I just have my hands here so I can feel what I'm doing. So the vacuum looks like this. I'll do a prep breath, then I will exhale, and then I will close my throat, and I'll pretend to inhale, and you'll see how everything is going to lift up. So I inhale to prepare. I will exhale, close my throat, and do a vacuum.
Oh.
And then I inhale, and I let the air back in.
Okay.
So you could see how everything in my abdomen, especially my deep abdominals, they just went up into my ribs. So the belly button comes in and it lifts. So what is the benefit of that? Your deepest core muscle, it gets completely engaged, and it's an involuntary contraction, which means it's doing it on its own without you having to do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the money is, because you're teaching your body to activate that muscle on its own. And another thing is you're lifting all those pelvic organs. You're lifting bladder, you lift uterus, you're lifting all that good stuff, and everything goes up. When sometimes we lie down, and we do this lying down as well, and that's when you can really feel how it works. So I can lie down here and I can show you.
Okay.
So this is one of the positions for hypopressive. You're lying on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you find a neutral pelvis. So I should be able to put a little blueberry underneath my low back, and I will not squish it.
Okay.
I will get forward and lift my feet up, and then I'll just, this is one style of arms. And the reason we do this style of arms here is because we want these bra muscles engaged. So I feel like I'm flaring my bra. I'll take one prep breath. I'll exhale. I'll close my throat, and I'll do a vacuum.
Okay.
And then we inhale, and then we exhale. So that's the idea. What we will do is we will go from posture to posture, from position to position. We'll do it on our knees. We'll do it standing in the lunge. We'll do it in an all fours position, on our back, legs crossed, all those things. Oh. And so that's becoming like a whole flow for like 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how long you want it. But you could imagine that this is going to, first of all, it engages and lifts your pelvic floor as well. Deep core lifts all your organs. And so many are having fantastic results with it. So I'm here to promote it. And the side effect is trimmed waist.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome. So as far as like classes and things that you have coming up, you said that they are virtual. Are you having them this month in August, or are they starting in like September? Like, what's the next dates for your classes?
So I decided that in order to really heal, you have to be comprehensive about it. You have to go all systems approach.
Okay.
So I decided that the way I want to go about it is that I want to work with women and have fewer clients, but I could focus my energy, solely on like a small group of people. And that's why I'm doing a course. I decided to do a master course where I will deliver. I call it the biopsychosocial method of healing, where we're going to focus on movement, the physical part, but we're also going to focus on the mental part and emotional part and the
Mm,
social part, where you can actually show up for yourself properly in life if you're having issues, you're feeling isolated, depressed, or whatever this, because this could be daunting, having incontinence or having your uterus coming down and falling out on you, right? So
yeah.
that causes a lot of anxiety. So we're definitely going to be addressing that and dealing with that. And another part of my course that's going to be method that's called Pilates. It's PF Pilates.
Mm, okay.
Pilates, Pilates. So that is a method that is using Kegels. So we're going to be doing Kegels with Pilates combined together.
Wow.
And so
Okay.
Pilates enhances the Kegel about 70%.
Okay.
So you can have like a 70% stronger Kegel when you're going to be doing that thing. So I'm combining hyperpressive, Pilates. I'm combining all kinds of like mental, very specific meditations, yoga. We're going to be balancing our root chakra, um, and obviously all the other things. So it's going to be like
Wow.
a comprehensive 6-week rehab your pelvic floor program.
Okay. And is this for any specific types of birth or any specific types of birth that it's not for? Like, so if someone has a cesarean birth, would this still be something that they will be able to take part in?
Yes, great question, because you cannot really do hyperpressive vacuum until you are 3 months after your C-section. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So
so
yes, just a different amount of time.
just like any abdominal surgery. So anybody
Okay.
who's got abdominal surgery, they'll have to wait about 3 months
Okay.
to start. But we could start on those poses and postures, and we could definitely do bagels for sure.
Okay.
But for the regular birth, I would say, honestly, in my opinion, I know everybody likes to wait 6 to 4 weeks, but everything I've read or research is like the sooner you start moving and doing breathing, very light, very gentle therapy, the better. But
Okay.
4 to 6 weeks kind of it's good to start doing the vacuum.
Okay, awesome. And can people sign up for like your email list that way they know when the course is going to be released and be available?
So the course is starting September 14th.
Okay.
Um, the first one for 6 months. There's probably going to be 2 weeks in between, and I'll start my second one. I'll launch my second one right there. So 8 weeks from then.
Okay.
And that's probably what I'm going to do is launch them every 8 weeks and just have women come on. It's virtual. They can do it from their home. And yeah, definitely email me at info@myeverbalance.com if you're interested. Yeah, I'm super results driven, and I don't like any fluff or any of that stuff. I just like to get straight to the point. I do bladder diaries, I do all kinds of assessments, and then we're going through the program. We do assessments again. We're going to have measurable results. Everything is super structured. I have a
Mm,
crazy accountability system where you are going to do what you signed up to do because I'm
okay.
responsible to deliver results. So I'm really big on that accountability part of it too, because the only way we're going to get results if we are consistent.
Right. Okay. Well, awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share with everybody or you want everybody to know about any of your services, your course, the low pressure fitness technique, anything at all? I really appreciate this information. It's incredible. It was awesome to be able to see it too.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so just reach out to me via email, info@myeverbalance.com, and we'll have those details here. And also, you can follow me on Instagram at theflowerbalance dot not .com, just the flower balance on Instagram.
Okay.
And message me on there. I'm really good about responding. If you just have a question, if you have an issue, right? Or you're
Yeah.
just not sure, you weren't sure what your doctor, about your conversation with your doctor, or you're about to do surgery, like sling surgery or any other surgery, and you're kind of wondering whether you should try something else before you do that.
Mm.
Just reach out to me and I'll be happy to just have a conversation and just talk to you. And, if it's a good fit and it's something that you will feel, drawn to, you could join my course. Like I said, starting September 14th, I'll be launching them every 8 weeks so women can join in. Those are going to be small groups, and you will receive a ton of value in those courses. And
Mm.
you'll finally be able to heal if you have any issues, or learn how to prevent you don't have any issues in the future.
Yeah. Well, Tatiana, thank you so much for all of your time and your expertise. I really appreciate you, and especially for doing the demonstration. Everybody, check out the video on YouTube. That way, if you're listening on the podcast, you can actually see the demonstration, because she really showed us like where your breath should land and how your body should look and the way in which your posture should be in order to make the most out of your exercise time. Definitely check out the description. I'll have everything linked below so you can follow Tatiana on Instagram, and also so you can email her if you have absolutely any questions. And thank you again. I really appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, and I just look forward to our collaboration.